Hi guys, good evening. Welcome to my another video of Linux for beginners. So, so we have discussed a lot of things about the Linux, how to set up a server in Vagrant, and how to set up how to log into that server using Vagrant with the help of a tool called Git Bash. But so today we are going to see by executing some more Linux commands by launching an EC2 instance in AWS account and getting connected to that. Okay, so if you see my AWS playlist, in that videos I have shown you how to connect to an instance, a EC2 instance in AWS. So there are different ways to connect to an EC2 instance, which is a Linux machine. So we are going to connect to the same EC2 instance which we have launched before, and we are going to run some Linux commands on top of it. Okay, so let's select this instance and click on connect. You will be able to see a SSH client section where you can find the command to connect to this particular Linux system. Okay, so you just go to the git bash and you're in the downloads folder. And what I'm going to do is I'll copy the command from here and I will paste the command over here. It allows me to connect to that particular EC2 instance. So if you see my screen, I have logged into the EC2 instance. So the EC2 instance which we have logged in is a Linux flavor of which is completely customized and built by Amazon itself. So it is having a lot of pre-existing packages and a lot of softwares already installed in it. So this is the server which is launched in AWS, and we have connected to it with the help of a tool called Git Bash. And we have another way of connecting to the same server. So if you see here, there are 4 different sections, right? So if you go to EC2 instance connect, if you just click on it, you will be able to see a connect button over here. And if you just click on that, it will redirect you to the Cloud Shell where you can directly connect to the EC2 instance with the help of your browser. Okay, so let's get started with executing some Linux commands over here. So now, okay, let's clear the screen and get started with the basic commands. So the very first command is pwd, the present working directory. It says in which directory you are resided. So I have resided in the home directory. Okay, so here, so how can we create a new directory inside this directory? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a command called mkdir, and I'm going to give a directory called production. Okay, so I have created a directory with the name called production, and let's see whether the directory has been created or not. Do ls, you will be able to see a directory called production, which is appearing in blue color. So if you see the file system, if you see the files existed in a directory, so if whichever is appearing in blue color and starts with a letter D in the details of the file, right? So that we consider it as a directory. So how to consider and how to find out which is a directory and which is a file. So the letter in the permission section, right? So if it starts with a letter D, so that is considered to be as a directory. And if you see a file, so I'm going to create an empty file with a command called touch, and I'm going to give a name as file1. And if you do ls-lrt again, so here you see the difference between these two. So the first one starts with D and then followed by all the permissions, read, write, and execute. And the second one, if you see the file, it starts with a hyphen and again with R, and it is considered to be as a file. Okay, so file and a directory. So directory is nothing but a folder, and file is an empty text file or a code file, anything. Okay, so that's fine. So we have seen how to create a directory and how to create a file. And let's see how to get into the directory. So we need to use a command called cd, which stands for change directory. And I'm going to give my directory name followed by backward slash. So which indicates that to connect, to jump into that particular directory and hit enter. So you will be able to get into the directory and do a pwd here. You will be able to see in which directory you are in. Okay, that's fine. We are in production directory. So how to get out of this directory? I want to get one step back. I want to come one step back from EC2 production to EC2 user. So what I'm going to do is cd space slash slash, sorry, dot dot. And when you hit enter, you will be coming out of this production directory. Again, if you do pwd, you will be able to see you are back into EC2 user home directory. Okay, so this is the way how can we create a directory, how to jump into the directory, how to get back from the directory, and how to create a text file. So these are the different commands. So if you want to see the commands which you have executed till now in a consolidated manner, you can type history in your terminal. When you hit enter, it says what are the different commands that you have typed till now. Okay, these are the different commands which I have typed, from making directory of a call, production, and getting into the directory, creating a file, and all the stuff. Okay, so that's fine. So let's see how can we delete a directory. So creating a directory and creating a text file is fine. So how can we delete the directory? Okay, so let's see that. So we have a command called rmdir, okay, which stands for remove directory. Okay, so I have a command, I have a name directory which is production. So I'm going to give production over here. Just hit enter, it will delete the production directory. It got deleted, but you have to keep that in mind. It only deletes a empty directory. It will not delete a directory which consists of files or some content inside in it. Okay, so let's see that as well. mkdir, I'm giving production again. And this time what I'm going to do is I'll get into the production and I'll create 100 files with a single command. Touch file, okay, touch file, and start your curly braces, 1 dot 100, okay, and close your curly braces, append a extension .txt. Of course, that is not necessary. If you want to append a extension, if it is a code based files, so you can do with dot and your certain extension. So just enter. Now do ls-lrt. You will be able to see 100 files created in the directory called production. So let's do pwd, or let me clear the screen first. Okay. Okay, so that's fine. So we have cleared the screen and we are in the production directory. So pwd, and we are in the production, to ls. So I have 100 files out of it. So now let's get back to the from the production directory one step back, and let's try to delete it with a command called rmdir production. What it says, it failed to remove. Why it failed to remove? Because the directory production, which is not an empty directory, right? It is not an empty directory. So that means rmdir only deletes a directory which doesn't have any content inside in it, okay, which doesn't have any files inside in it. So now I have a lot of files in my production directory. How can I delete that? So we have an alternative command, rm remove. You can use a flag -f, okay, remove -f. If you want to delete a directory, you can use -f, and only this command will be used for deleting a directory which is having a lot of files inside in it. Okay, if you don't have any file inside the directory, you can use rmdir command and you can delete that particular directory. So now what I'm going to do, rm-f and production, hit enter. It cannot remove. It is a directory. Okay. So you need to use an extension called rf. Okay. You have to give recursively and forcefully. both the flags. So now it will get deleted. If you do ls-lrt, so you don't have protection, right? So what is the difference between these two? So rm and minus f is only to delete a file. Okay, when you include rm minus rf, it says you can delete a directory even though it is having a lot of files in it. Okay, so that's how it is. You have to identify the difference. So how to delete an empty directory and how to delete a directory with a lot of text or a lot of files inside in it, all those details. Okay. Okay, so we have seen how to create a directory, how to get into the directory, and how to create a file, and how to delete the directory, how to delete a directory which consists of a lot of files, and how to delete an empty directory, and how to delete a file as well. Okay, so let me reiterate the components that, let me reiterate the concepts that we have discussed. Let me type history, right? So history always gives you what are the commands that you have executed till now. Okay, so I have executed make dir directory. For the directory name is production. I get into the directory. CD stands for change directory, and touch is a command which basically helps us to create empty files. So here I'm going to create 100 number of files, and I'm going to use ls-lrt to identify whether the files got created or not. And so pwd again stands for present working directory. So rmdir always works for deleting an empty directory. So rm minus f is works for only for the files, not the directories. You have to use rf if you want to delete a directory. Okay, so history commands always shows you what are the previous commands that you have executed. Okay, that's fine. We have seen how to create directories, delete and create files and delete all the stuff. So now, what are permissions? We are going to discuss about permissions, or we have a couple of concepts which left in terms of files. So let me explain you that as well. So how can we enter some text into a file? Okay, so till now we have seen how to create an empty file and how to delete it. So how can I enter some text inside that file? So what I'm going to do is I will use echo, okay, echo with the inverted quotes. So what I'm going to do is I'll give a sentence like this. This is first line in a file, in file one. Okay, so that's enough. This is first line in file one. And I'm going to give a greater than symbol, which is called a redirection. Okay, so I am redirecting this output into a file called file1.txt. Okay, the command looks big, but let me explain you this. So what echo means? So what is echo basically? So echo is a Linux command line utility which basically prints some context. Okay, so a text will be printed over the terminal. So and this text we are going to print in a file called file1.txt. No matter if the file already exists or not exist, you have to just use a echo command if you want to append the text inside that file1.txt. Okay, so just enter, you have to enter, and let's see whether I have the content which is resided in file1.txt or not, or whether the previous command which is executed properly or not. So how can we check that? So just use a cat command. So cat is a command in Linux which basically helps you to open the file and look for the text inserted in it. Okay, so file cat and file name file1.txt and enter. Hey, you can see that you have a line which is appended by using echo command. Okay, so that's fine. So I have used echo command to append a line, a single line. Okay, so this time I'm going to give a different text. So what I'm going to do is, instead of first, I'm going to give test. Okay, So initially the line, this is a first line in a file one is appended, and now I'm going to use test. So let's see what happens. When you hit enter and again cat file1.txt, you will be able to see the first keyword is being overridden by text. Okay, so I don't want this to happen. Okay, I want the content should look like this is a first line in file one, and in the second line, this is a test line in a file one. I want those two sentences to be resided in the same file without overriding each other. So how can we achieve that? It's pretty simple. What I'm going to do is in the same echo command, I'm going to give another greater than symbol, and let me change the some content over here. This is second test line. Okay, enter. So now use the cat command to see the content inside the file. Now you can see the first line is test line and the second line is second test line. Quite interesting, right? So you can append a lot more lines as you required by using double greater than symbols. Okay, so same way I will append the third line. So the third test line. So I'll just say 3RD. Okay, so let's cat the file one more time, file1.txt, and enter. You can be able to see three different lines involved in it, but these are printing one by one. Okay, okay, so that's fine. So now I'm going to use a single redirection now. I don't want a double. So let's see what happens. I have three lines, but my consideration is this single greater than symbol will override all the three lines. All the context existed in file1.txt. Enter and cat file1.txt. Hey, see that? We don't have three lines, right? We got only the new line which recently appended inside the file. Okay, so that's how we can enter text inside an empty file. So this is one way of inserting a text. The other way of inserting a text is you can use cat command. So what is cat? You already know what cat command is, which is basically to read the content inside the file. So I'm using cat command to append my text. So I'll just use cat with a less than symbol and give the file name .txt and hit enter, right? Got the file. Okay, so but I think we need to use the same append symbol. Okay, so this is how. That's my bad. I used as less than symbol. Here we need to use greater than symbol again. So what this cat command does is it is not coming to the next terminal point. So it just opened the file and it is expecting you to write some text inside in it. So I can write this text. So what I'm going to write is, this is Linux session going on Amazon AWS Linux server, right? AWS Linux server. And we are keen towards it. Okay, so now we have entered the text. Okay, so that's fine. So how can I come out of text with saving it, not quitting it without saving? I want this text to be appended inside the file, and I need to come out of to my terminal by pressing in your keyboard Control plus C. So you came out of the text, right? If you just use cat command again to see the content inside the file, you will be able to see the a sentence which we have appended by using cat. Okay, so cat is very powerful to enter some text. Okay, so you can also use echo, you can use cat, whatever you have, you can use it. So the other way, we have multiple ways of entering text into a file. So the other way of entering text into a file is you can use any of the editor. So Linux comes with two different editors. One is Vim editor and the other one is Nano editor. So Nano is pretty cool. It has a lot of options. In the same way, Vim is pretty difficult, but it's very cool. It is having a lot even more features when compared to Nano. So let's see that. So how can we enter text by using Vim editor and Nano editor? So let's see that. So I'm going to open my file1.txt with a Vim editor first, and I'll show you the Nano editor coming in some time. Okay, so I'm going to use Vim file1.txt and enter. See that it has opened a file and it is waiting to enter some text. Now, if you start typing directly, it will not allow you to type the text. What you have to do is you have to press the letter I. I stands for India. I in your keyboard. So when you press I, carefully observe here where my cursor was highlighted. So it turns into the insert mode. So insert mode is nothing but it is allowing you to insert some text inside the file. So I am going to press my keyword L in my keypad, sorry, I, and when I press it, you can see that it was in insert mode, right? So now what I'm going to do, I'll insert the text. So this is, so Linux server with Amazon. So, okay, that's fine. So now we have entered some text inside the file, which we have added some text inside it, and I need to save it, right? In your keyboard, press escape button and shift colon and WQ with the exclamatory mark and enter. So the text was saved into the file. So let's see that. Cat file1.txt. Hey, we got this text which we have entered right now. So this is how you can enter text with the help of a Vim editor. So what if in case of Nano editor, how can we do that? So let's see that. So I'm going to use Nano and file1.txt, and I've opened the Nano editor, and I'm going to enter the text in my second line. So this is second line, enter with Nano editor. Okay, so it's a spelling mistake, it's not like, it's a line. Okay, so we have entered the text, but now how to save it? In your keyboard, press Ctrl X. It will ask for a confirmation here. Do you want to save the modified buffer? And you have to say enter Y. Y means yes, and press enter in your keyboard. Yes, it was saved into the file1.txt with the help of Nano editor, and you can see the content. See, we have our second line which was entered into the file with the help of Nano editor. So these are the different ways of entering text into a file. So you can even open VI editor and press go to the insert mode, and you can type how much text you want, or else you can open with the Nano editor and you can type all the text, and you can press Ctrl X and give a confirmation and press enter on your keyboard. It will save and quit. Okay, so this is how you can enter some text into the files. So what are the concepts that we have covered in this video? So we have covered so how to create a directory, right? So we have covered how to create a directory. So how to jump in to the directory and how to create text files, and how to delete the directory and how to delete the files and how to enter text into the files. So all these details we have seen in the current video. So that's all for today, guys. So let's wait for the coming sessions. We'll upload even more interesting topics. Thank you so much for your support and have a good day, everyone. Take care. Bye bye.